Hi everyone, welcome back to Brown Girl Blue. My name is Tabitha. So, question for you: do you find yourself having traumatic responses to the perception of being questioned or over questioned? I do. So, I noticed that whenever someone critically questions me, it elicits a brain freeze to where I just lose my thoughts. And I always wonder what is happening to me? Why am I doing that? Like, I understand I can hold myself in a conversation. I'm professional. I'm well educated. And I said, why does this happen? Why do I get this panic feeling? And so I think about my experiences of growing up in a Jehovah's Witness household. There was always a lot of questions. We always had to prove your prove yourself. And then I'm talking about having critical conversations or being able to be a critical thinker, be able to think on your feet. Is more of your answer may not be good enough, and so you are put in a position to where you're just not confident. And I still have that to where I could be in certain situations to where if the person and their intent just may be just getting information, right? There's nothing on them per se, but just having that memory of that experience of having to prove yourself all the time, it still affects me. It still puts me in a place where, we all heard of the fight, flight, or freeze response. And it's when your brain is designed to elicit certain physical reactions in your body to protect you from danger. And so either you will fight to protect yourself, or you flee from the situation, or you will just stop. And it's all to make sure that you survive whatever that perceived threat is. Well, the same thing can occur through conversations or through through a non-physical act. Just having a very stressful situation, depending on how you perceive it, your brain is going to have the same type of response because it perceives it as a threat to you. So that happens to me whenever I'm in a conversation and I perceive that my response isn't good enough, or if and it's not even about pushing back because that's just part of having a reciprocal conversation, but it's more of the intent of the tone that takes me back to that place of when I was being questioned to be good enough to be baptized, and it was a lot of, are you sure, or what are you talking about, or just that slight undertone of you really have to prove yourself completely, or even during family Bible study we would have where you have to make sure that you're asking really deep probing questions, and if you're not, then people think you don't know what you're talking about. So it's just very interesting that I have this, just that still have that connection to when I'm in situations to where I feel like I'm being verbally attacked. That takes me right back to that place of, just kind of having a mind blank and not knowing what to do. Then I get nervous, and then I start falling into this, loss of confidence, and inside I'm really falling apart. Outside I'm struggling really to keep it together, but there really is a storm, occurring inside of me as I am just trying to sort through that. But yeah, so just it's such a hard thing. It is really very interesting of how still certain conversations or how conversations are presented to me can make me remember emotionally, can make me remember that period of time where I was made to feel that I wasn't good enough, and it's just not going to cut it. And just feeling, trying to think of the right word, but just feeling just out of place, feeling like I didn't belong. And I know that falls into that imposter syndrome where you have that lack of confidence and you feel that you don't have enough value uh, to bring to whatever situation that you are part of, and the feelings of isolation, and just feeling completely like you that is not the place for you. Oh, just so much to to think about, and just to continue to find ways to work through, and to continue my process of healing, and just be able to identify when it happens, and knowing that I am doing the best that I can at that moment, and that is okay, and it's probably not as a big of a deal as my mind would like for me to believe. But just remembering that I have value, and to give myself plenty of grace to forgive myself, so I don't fall into the vicious loop of believing what was told to me so many years ago, and still being able to work through that. So just helping myself restore my confidence, and to walk gently, and to be gentle to myself. Those are definitely the things that I practice to help me. And so when I have those feelings, right away I have my affirmations that I tell myself, like, okay, self, let's think about this. How you're feeling is you're okay. You're valid to how you're feeling. Those emotions are real, but let's look at them for what they are. They're echoes of my past. They're not. They're no longer valid uh, pieces of me anymore. And it's just an echo. It's an echo of things that happened long ago. And my brain and my body remembers. And so anytime that it is exposed to that, it's going to have that reaction. Now, the good thing is that the reaction is not as strong as it used to be, to where it was crippling. But now I still definitely feel the echoes whenever I'm in those type of situations. But I just take a deep breath and I breathe, because breathing is very healing. Look up the effects of just breathing, what it does to your body, and just taking a breath and letting that oxygen in, and getting the dead air out, and just breathe life into your body, and relax, allows you to relax. And also think about the things that you've done, some of your successes. Bring that back to the front of your mind, and look at how far you've come and the accomplishments that you've made. These are all different things that I do that I found to be effective. Now, they still come back when a situation where I'm exposed to, like one happened recently, to where I was having a professional conversation, and there were just some questions, and just a conversation, and but it was the way that the questions were posed to me that it took me back to that same kind of like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that feeling. There it is. But just being able to take a breath, just taking a breath and breathing and relaxing and remembering all the good that you've done. Think about who you are today and who you were years ago, and compare the two. And I've definitely made a lot of progress from the person who was 10, 15, 20 years younger, looking at looking at my life, and how the work that I put into it to really be deliberate, being deliberate, and being on purpose. And for me, being on purpose is, setting a goal of something that I want to do, and stay focused on that. And to allow myself successes, and also to acknowledge when you have success, and to not let those things go unnoticed. Growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, you really are taught to not value yourself, but it's always about that external giving. that external sacrifice, doing for others, um, at the detriment to yourself. Something as simple as not celebrating your birthday. Not bringing any attention that would bring any celebration of you. It's all about worrying about some dooms event that's been predicted, some kind of dooms event that's going to occur, and always worrying about things ending, and just being very worried all the time. It's full of anxiety and not given the time to just live in the presence, and always worrying about the future, what the future's going to bring. When is the system going to end? Always having that in your mind. That's not healthy. That's not sustainable. That has long lasting effects. The way that the brain works, when you have stress, there is some stress that is good. It allows stress can motivate you to do things, to get up out of bed, to go to work, to take care of your family, to go out and do whatever task you're going to do. But when you have that sustained stress, where you're constantly, something is on you, when you're always worried about it, it's constant. You never allow yourself to just relax. Or that definitely is going to have some serious implications on your physical health. And just picking up, and I found that picking up activities I enjoy and doing those things, like walking. I like walking my dogs. My husband and I, we go and walk our dogs. That's very relaxing for me. During the season, I like to work in the garden. I love to bake. So just thinking about who you are and all the things that make up you, and looking at the things that you enjoy, and really learning to enjoy life. And so when I have these moments to where I'm in these circumstances where I feel that type of judgment, that same kind of judgment energy that I experienced growing up. And so when I have conversations that remind me of that, I still feel it. I still feel a little echo from that time. But I know, myself, that I know now, I know that it's just a temporary echo, and it will go away as long as I don't put too much energy into it. I acknowledge it, and I allow myself the grace to feel it, and then I do my process so that it can melt away, so it can go away. Otherwise, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So just being mindful that it's okay when that happens. When you have trauma like that, it stays with you. And you learn to adjust, and you recognize when it happens, and then you do your processes that you have to help it, relax and to calm down, so you don't have an overreaction to it. So yeah, so I still have those feelings. I probably most likely will. I'm sure as I get older, and more, and just things develop to where the echoes will get less and less, but they're still with me. And so when it happens, I acknowledge, okay, I know what that is. Like, I can feel it. I understand where this is coming from, and it's okay. It's okay. This one experience doesn't summarize the whole of who I am. It's okay to have those moments. And so I tell myself that. It's like, Tabitha, it's okay that you have that. It's all right. You're going to be okay. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. And sometimes I say that out loud if no one's around me, and but most of the time I'll say it inside, in my quiet voice, just telling myself, it's okay. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. So that's for you too. You're going to be all right. And those feelings are going to come. Those experiences that we shared, if you were a victim of shunning, or, growing up in that type of environment where you were constantly criticized or scrutinized, to where your perceived best wasn't good enough. You're always striving to be the perfect witness, and how that spilled over into your regular life. seeking that perfection, and not being allowed to see that the development of you is the beauty of who that whole development process as you become yourself and get to know yourself. That's the beauty of life. And to be denied that and to let someone else's philosophy mold you outside of who you were meant to be. But you're healing from that, and now you're on the other side of it, and now the rest just takes time. And that's what I've been doing. It just takes time. I started doing therapy. Oh goodness, about 8 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. Probably I think about 7 or 8 years ago. And before that, I was always into reading self-help books and listening to seminars and webinars. I was always seeking a better way. Like, there's got to be a better way. I know there's a better way. I've always been on this as long as I can remember, reading information or how I can, have a better way of thinking, a more healthier and positive way of thinking. And it just takes time. And something else that works, I'm not a constant journaler, but I do journal from time to time. Just when I have those thoughts and writing those thoughts down and really being honest about how that made me feel and just get it out. Even doing this YouTube channel has been very therapeutic for me of just talking and knowing that those of you who are listening understand my perspective and understand my experience, and hopefully what I am sharing will help you, and to look within yourself and really give yourself the grace and the love, and love yourself, and give yourself a pat on the back, like, hey, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. And just think about all the great things you've done and the things you've overcome. No matter what the measure of the success is success, and it's measurable. Sometimes just getting up out of bed. Sometimes just getting up and getting showered and putting one foot in front of the other. That is the success some days. So don't underplay your success. That is a chronic identifier, is that we would train to not, even though we have plenty of publications talk about happiness, happiness in the family, happiness and all that, we weren't really taught to be happy or how to be happy. That was all pseudo happiness. It wasn't real happiness. So really learning to embrace life and to just enjoy you and take one day at a time. That's what I do. Just take a breath and let yourself know that things are all right. You're doing okay. Even when you have responses to those moments, it may be something different for you. You may have a different, kind of memory connection to some past event, to where when you experience it again, it takes you back to those feelings. It takes you back to those feelings where you feel, for me, it's like it's a little bit of, it's like, oh, you feel it right almost like in the middle of your chest. You just feel that anxiety and that angst and that fear and all those other emotions that surface. When those things happen, it's okay to, for me, I breathe through it. I just take a breath and I acknowledge it, and I said, it's okay. I know it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. And give yourself the grace and love, and acknowledge who you've become. It's okay to do that. I do. I try to do this often as I can because it's needed. It's needed. When I look back and think about all the things that I have been able to overcome and to do, and things in spite of all of that, to keep going, just keep going, and to know that there are others who know exactly what you're experiencing, or have experienced. You know, it's a bit of it's a community. It's a community that we have, and I'm so happy to have this platform to be able to meet more people who had similar experiences and see how we can help each other. So that's enough for today. So I will come back on again and put out some more information about my experiences growing up as a child in Jehovah's religion. But until then, have an amazing day and know that we're all gonna be okay. And this is a great time for us to be together and to help and support each other. Until next time, I will see you at the next video. Have a great day. Bye.